Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard to the slightly delayed episode of Dropkicks and Attractions podcast. I'm, of course, your pop culture powerhouse and your retro rhinoceros, because rhinoceri are my logo and I just like them in general. Xander Invictus, joined by my close personal friend and just the cutest of patooties, Big Bach.
Hey Xander, I don't know how much I like being called like that, but whatever. How you doing?
Better now, you cutie patootie.
Oh gosh, what have I got myself into?
That's what she said. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk pay-per-views. We are talking about the first ever King of the Ring pay-per-view. Not the first ever King of the Ring. King of the Ring pay-per-view. So, as you all know by now, pay-per-views get their own episode. So we don't have one, we can give more time on the pay-per-views, and two, so our episodes aren't super long.
Right.
So, King of the Ring came June 13th, 1993 in Dayton, Ohio, which is actually the day before my 11th birthday.
Cool.
And for those that know, we have talked about it off and on occasionally throughout the build for King of the Ring. This is, as we just said at the top of the show, this is not the first King of the Ring. We'll get a little bit more in the house show stuff and how that established when we get to the wrestling.
Right.
But let's go ahead, before we get to the main show, let's go to the concession stand. Sir, what are you consuming?
All right, I am into 2016 on Atop the Fourth Wall. That's still a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning on going through My Dress Up Darling again. That's an anime about cosplaying.
Okay.
And I'm just generally going through the same things I do. Diamond X Studios, The Double Agent, lots of pop music YouTube. How about you, Xander? What's on your plate?
All right, no, so actually what I've been watching is I found Alpha on Tubi. Like, I was a big fan of it as a kid. My parents actually got me the DVDs for Christmas a few years ago, so for some reason it never disappears. Me being a big fan of physical media, guess what?
Mm-hmm. You've got it on hand.
Exactly. And they actually have, Alpha had not one, but two animated series, and both of those are on Tubi too, so I might peruse those if I get bored.
Good deal.
Yeah, no, I found another site called Plex that basically, puts everything together on one site.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite movies that came out in the last 20 years that I enjoy watching, and it's harmless. It's called The Girl Next Door. The one where it's about a boy. He's like the student class president, gets into Georgetown, real shy kid, not popular.
Right.
Falls in love with the girl who's house sitting next door. He finds out that she's a former porn star.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's very hilarious. I love it. I just watched it. Matter of fact, I watched it this morning. It's like, I hadn't watched this forever. It still holds up. It's very quotable for me. I can quote the lines. Yeah, I like it. So, YouTube-wise, I gotta watch the new Austin Eruption video that came. I just saw that today, talking about the rare, obscure DS games. I actually had a DS right when they first came out. That one Christmas. The one Christmas that they were out, I bought the last one in the store. I just happened to be in there at the right moment.
Lucky you.
So I had an OG original one that came with, actually, it's so OG, it came with a demo of the Metroid game that was on DS at the time.
Oh, cool. Metroid Prime Hunters.
I was watching Tasting History. I got to watch the two recent ones. He did one about, there was this, what do they call it? Like the paintings on the walls, like ancient Rome. The
Murals?
Mural, but there was another word for it, and I can't think of it. Mosaic. Not a mosaic because it wasn't like bits and pieces and stuff, but you get the concept.
Yeah, I do.
So basically, it was this weird pizza type dish where it looks similar, at least in the painting or the picture or whatever. It looks similar to pizza, so he made that and actually turned out really well. And had made his own, had like a garlic spread on it and pomegranates and other stuff. It looked weird, but he liked it.
Yeah, neat.
Yeah, and then the other one was the true history of fettuccine Alfredo.
Ooh.
Where actual fettuccine Alfredo has 3 ingredients, and one of them's pasta.
What are the other two?
Butter and cheese, like Parmesan or like Reggiano cheese. There's no cream in it. There's no nothing. It's butter, cheese, and noodles. That's it.
Neat.
And he made it from the recipe from the guy that's considered the inventor of this. That it was actually from Italy, and like there was an Italian restaurant. There's a whole story with it. But yeah, like true actual fettuccine Alfredo has no milk in it. And he also made the pasta by hand, so he showed you how to make actual fettuccine by hand.
Well, that's awesome.
That's about it. Trying to slowly get, my life back together. I'm trying to make myself have free time because I am putting way too much time into my other stuff, which is why we're a week late. All on me. I apologize.
Yeah, it happens like that sometimes.
I've been driving myself extremely hard, and you've seen it.
I have.
I get either no sleep or all the sleep. But yeah, anyways, so we're going to go ahead and go to Tubi or Not Tubi. And so, Big Boxer, what movie did you get?
I got The Loveless, which is from 1981. It stars Willem Dafoe. The solicitation you gave me from Tubi didn't really match what the movie turned out to be.
All right.
What it basically was just a movie about some motorcyclists heading down to Daytona. I believe I believe this was like the Florida Georgia kind of border, maybe.
I like the Panhandle.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, so one of the guys, his bike breaks down, so they spend some time looking for a shop to fix it at. They do that. It's basically just a day in their lives.
Okay, so this is a very slow burn type.
Yeah, like you said a couple back early on with Hyoka, this was too slow of a burn for me. I did not enjoy this.
I mean, to be fair, like we're not going to for all of them.
Right. If you like the really kind of slow burn, you might enjoy this, but this was not for me. I'd rate this 2.
Okay, fair. Like I said, we're not going to watch. God knows I've seen some bad stuff on here. We're not going to like every movie we come across.
Right.
So obviously you wouldn't recommend it.
I would not.
Okay, fair.
Alrighty, let's turn that around, and how about you tell us what you watched, Xander?
I watched the Little Rascals movie from '94.
Ah, yes, I remember that now.
Yeah, basically, I grew up watching the Little Rascal shorts, the Our Gang Little Rascal shorts as a kid. So if you've seen those, this is exactly what you're getting.
Gotcha.
It's all the kids, like any adult cameos or any adult roles are cameos. Like this is 95% the kids, and I'm not familiar with any of the actors or the kid actors, other than the one who played Buckwheat was the one that played the young son in the latter seasons of Fresh Prince.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, like he is like I don't think many of them are in acting anymore either. But basically, they had the whole thing where they had the girls have cooties, yucky, and one of them falls in love with the girl because that was what happened in the shorts, and wackiness ensues, and then there's a go-kart race. Like it seems like they took a lot of like the vignette shorts, put them together, and then kind of sewed them together. Like it flowed logically, but it seemed like a bunch of different shorts sewn together.
Yeah, I get how that happens.
Yeah, but like it wasn't like jarring; it flowed.
It worked.
Yeah, and like this was a lot of sight gag. Like I like sight gags and wordplay. Like there's one where they accidentally burned down the clubhouse.
Oh.
And so the kids are like, it's Buckwheat, and one of the other kids is like, oh, we need to call. And they go to a payphone. They're like, oh, we need to call the police. We need to call the fire department. What's 911's number? I don't know. So they're just like, they shrug, and then they just walk off, leave the phone off the hook. Meanwhile, it pans over. They're across the street from a fire station.
Oh, my.
Stuff like that. This is a very much a kid's movie, a family movie. Like, if I was very young in 94, like I was 12 in 94,
Mm-hmm.
if I was very young, I would say like sub 10, I would have probably watched this all the time.
I gotcha.
This is a very welcoming, like a very family-friendly movie. This is a very safe is the word I'm thinking for. It's a very safe movie.
Gotcha.
You like pop it in, the kids are going to enjoy it. You're not going to see anything. But the part that gets me is all of the adult cameos are like famous actors.
Right.
Like they're like, oh, here, hello, sir, at the wood shop. We need to buy wood for our clubhouse. Here's change. And the guy only has like 3 lines. It's George Wendt, the guy that played Norm from Cheers.
Oh.
He's in it for like 45 seconds. Or they want to go get a loan from the bank, which is another sight gag.
Mm-hmm.
The evil, mean bank manager is fucking Mel Brooks.
Oh.
He's in it for 2 minutes. Like, once they're done with that scene, you don't see them the rest of the movie.
Right.
Or, like, one of my favorite, like, you know what, wordplay. We're big fans of puns and wordplay.
Yeah, yeah.
They get to the big go-kart race at the end. And Buckwheat, like, "Goo, look, there's my mom." And the other kid goes, "Whoopee." And they look over. Buckwheat's mom, guess who it is?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
that's kind of obvious, but still, that is funny.
That was the part that made it obvious. You're just like, oh god. And you know I love a good cameo.
Yeah,
And they always see the things like, what's your favorite out of place cameo in this movie? They're like out of place cameo in any movie or one that doesn't make sense.
right.
I found my favorite.
Okay.
They have the evil, not necessarily evil, but like the rich kid who's kind of snotty.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who plays his dad? And I can almost guarantee you're not going to guess it.
Hulk Hogan.
Nope. Three guesses. You got Hulk Hogan. Which are the two guesses?
Uh,
Like I had no idea. This blew my mind.
Bill Pullman.
Not Bill Pullman. Think out of the box.
Leonard Nimoy.
Fucking Donald Trump.
Really?
Like, because we know he's been in movies before, so it's not that stretch, but you're just like, Dad, da-da-da, thanks, Dad. And then you turn over, his dad is fucking Donald Trump. And who's only in it for like a minute, you're just like, and not because of his politics. It's
Right.
just, his appearance just, wait, what?
Right.
He has like one line, maybe two. That might be the most out of nowhere cameo I've ever seen in a movie.
Gotta say, yeah, wow.
Yeah. But like I said, like the movie's completely harmless. It's safe. If you like the Little Rascals, like the shorts growing up, like it's worth a watch. This is 100% something you can put this on for like 4 and 5 year olds because most of the kids look like they're about 6 or 7.
Gotcha.
So this is a movie that you can put on for like if you want to babysit and watch the kids movie. Like here's the thing, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. Like I'm flipping through, this is on, but I would watch it again. I would recommend it.
Gotcha.
100%. This is a fantastic family movie. Like there was parts where I laughed out loud, and I'm like, and there was. I don't even think they had like any like mommy daddy jokes that they hide.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but like, and that trust me, that wasn't even all the cameos that are in the movie.
Just a whole lot of them, basically.
Yeah, and like all the adults were just cameos, and they were all like celebrities, like people that you know.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'd give this. You know what? I'd give this a solid 3
Good deal.
because it's a good movie, but it's made for like elementary school kids.
Gotcha.
But it's one you can put on as a family. Like it's like I said, very safe movie. I 100% recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's this week. So next, we're going to go ahead and roll. Bach, we're going to go ahead and roll your genre, sir.
Give me a documentary.
All right. Nope. You are getting, sir, film noir, which can be fun. Some of those are really good.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
I'm a big film noir fan, just in general myself.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to spin your number.
4 always wins.
Number 4.
Yay!
You actually got 4.
Good deal.
I love you.
Oh boy, what have you got for me?
You got a good one, and I'm not joking.
Okay, lay it on me.
Dirty Harry.
Ooh, I know the movie, have never seen it.
The original first one. You got the original Dirty Harry from 1971.
Was that Clint Eastwood's first movie? Because I know he stars.
Oh God, no! Dude, he was in a Universal Studios monster movie.
Oh, really? I didn't realize he was that old.
Bro, he's in his 90s now.
Holy crap! It just never come up. Never had to look for it.
Yeah, like Dirty Harry came out in 71, my dude.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you get the original Dirty Harry after you humiliate yourself on the internet thinking that Clint Eastwood's on his 90s. All right, we're going to go ahead and roll again for me.
What are you hoping to get?
Anything that's not mushy mushy.
Gotcha.
Anime.
Ooh.
Well, actually, last time I rolled anime was good for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I got Project Eiko. Looks like I'm going to get 9. 3, 6, 7. Okay. TV show. There we go. Because for those that don't know, this is the first time we've actually had this happen. If we roll, we land on a TV show, we go to the next one.
Right.
And then the next one, and until we get one that's movie. So I went through 5 TV shows before I landed on a movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I missed Sonic X, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Afro Samurai, Valkyrie Drive Mermaid, and Juden Chan. I came up to one called Memories. Oh, and it's an anthology, which I'm a big fan of anthologies.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they also said I might like Wicked City. No, I don't.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. I was like, no, mm-mm. But this is from '95. The anime anthology classic from the creator of Akira features 3 visually incredible stories from the top animation studios in Japan.
Cool.
I'll give it a shot. I have Memories, and you have Dirty Harry, sir.
All righty. Looks like we're all set.
There we go, and we will go ahead and put the trailers up. That is Box Job. We will put both trailers up, and then any kind of fun stuff we come across throughout the week. Shall we get to the wrestling, sir?
Sounds like a plan. This was fun.
Yeah, so we're going to get to King of the Ring 1993, which was June 13th, 1993, in Dayton, Ohio, at the Nutter Center.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they changed that to the Hara Arena. I don't know if it's the same thing or if that's a different arena.
I am also not sure.
Let me double check, because no, it's 2 completely different things. The Nutter Center is actually at Wright State University, and the Hara Arena is in the suburbs of Dayton.
Gotcha.
Actually, the Hara Arena closed down in 2016.
So yeah, it's basically just been abandoned, from what I understand. They didn't knock it down or anything.
Yeah, I was actually speaking of, Bret Hart's obviously on this card. I was actually at the Hara Arena. Was that, or was that wrong? Well, the one I was at, I forget which one I was at. This was a good 13 years ago. I was actually at the Monday Night Raw where Bret Hart was the special guest host. Remember they were doing the guest general managers?
Mm-hmm.
And they had a big deal that Bret Hart was coming back to WWF TV for the first time since '97. And he had Shawn Michaels, made up in the ring, and that started the whole McMahon Bret Hart storyline.
Right.
That big, huge moment, which is very huge.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for that.
Cool.
It was amazing. But anyways, we're at the Nutter Center here. So we've talked about it a little bit throughout the build for King of the Ring. For those that don't know, King of the Ring has been around since '85. Actually, this is the first pay-per-view one, and the first one that had happened since '91.
Mm-hmm.
Where the ones prior to '93 were all house shows. They were like one day tournament house shows. The winner was King of the Ring.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes it would be like a storyline. Like you had the King Harley Race, you had King Haku, King Haxel Jim Duggan, and then probably I would say most famously the Macho King Randy Savage.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how most of the times if it's on a house show, it never happened.
Right.
Right. You know that whole general unwritten rule. It doesn't count on a house show until it counts.
Uh-huh.
You know if that makes sense.
They'll acknowledge it if they want to.
Yeah, other than that, it didn't happen. Like the first time, like famously, remember when there was a time where Kane was feuding with Umaga?
Don't remember that.
Well, Umaga was this undefeated, Samoan Savage. He was an undefeated monster. Of course, who didn't lose until John Cena on TV, obviously.
Right.
But his first loss was actually at a house show to Kane.
Okay, gotcha.
But because it was a house show, doesn't count.
They just threw it out, didn't mention it.
Exactly.
Okay.
The first one in '85, we actually talked about this at Slamboree because one of the participants was the magnificent Don Morocco was the first winner. And Brett, if you want to count these, which nobody does, because once again, nobody counts these, technically the winner of this tournament is a 2-time winner because they're the only 2-time winner because they won the last house show one. And we'll get to the winner, obviously, at the end.
Right.
But that person is actually a 2-time winner.
Cool.
We want to go ahead. I love my dark matches.
Uh-huh.
Especially since we found the one for WrestleMania. And if I ever find them, I'll post them. I did not find this one, but if I ever find a dark match for pay-per-view, I'll try to post it. Mm-hmm. Which is easy to do during like the era of Sunday Night Heat because those were always the pay-per-view dark matches, quote unquote.
Gotcha.
We have Jerry Lawler. Now he was in the USWA in Memphis. He was a big deal in Memphis. So at the time, them and WWF had a working relationship where they would do talent exchanges,
mm-hmm.
which was like the precursor to the Forbidden Door concept.
Gotcha.
Like we're gonna send some of our guys over to you to do a couple shows or an appearance, vice versa. Basically, that's what the Forbidden Door is now, but like in a very smaller
Okay.
It was usually WWF and like USWA or Smoky Mountain Wrestling or something like that. Very Forbidden Door like.
Right.
We had a match between the USWA Unified World Heavyweight Champion Papa Shango
Mm-hmm.
defeated Owen Hart.
Really?
That was the dark match. I could not find it, but that's the dark match.
Okay.
So, you know me, I got to have all the information.
Oh yeah, you are very good at finding it.
Yeah. I could not find this. So, we are starting out almost a good chunk. Like, we got all the first round and semis, like, right off the bat. Boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
We just go ahead and jump into the first match of the night, which I think was my favorite of the opening round matches.
I think I'm going to agree with you because this was very good.
Yeah, and it was a rematch of the Royal Rumble 93 World Title match. It is Bret Hart versus Razor Ramon. And right away, like, I knew right away this was going to be good. Like, we've already seen them wrestle before. I honestly think this match was better than the Royal Rumble match.
I'm not going to try to compare just because but regardless, they slug it out for a bit, get some good chaining in because Bret Hart's got that technical background.
Sure, and then I always talked about how good Bobby Heenan was on the mic. Like, he was good at getting the people, not only his people over, but their opponents over.
Yeah.
And you also noticed that there was a little subtle prop. Bobby kept talking about how good Bret was, but he was subtle about it.
Right.
Where, like, we always we've talked about this many, many times. If I do a promo and I say you're a piece of shit, you're garbage, you're no good, and I lose to you, then I just lost to a piece of shit, garbage, no good wrestler. But if I beat you, I didn't beat anybody.
Right. You have to talk. You have to talk yourself and your opponent up.
And this is what Bobby was doing. Like, he doesn't stand Bret Hart, but you could tell that he was giving him props.
Right. He's got Savage and JR on the mic with him, so this is a great team.
Oh, it was a great team. Like, overall, the quality of the commentary was fantastic. And there was also a lot of 1, 2, 3 chants because we're obviously still working on the feud between Razor Ramon and the 1, 2, 3 kid.
Right.
And we also noticed that this was a very even match, very damn good match.
Yeah.
And we saw that Razor was working on Bret Hart's fingers. Stomping on his fingers, working on his hand and his fingers, which will come into play later on during the show.
Right.
Because we go back and forth, and Bret does wiggle out of an outsider's edge and gets a small package.
Mm-hmm.
Very close to count.
Yeah.
Bret does hit his 5 moves of doom. This is he was the one that people started talking about the moves of doom when they do the same moves every match, the same, like, to set up the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Like Triple H had it, John Cena had it. This was basically the first guy that they acknowledged had the moves of doom.
Right.
But Razor is starting to make his comeback. He really wants that win because, the machismo and the gold and all that horse pucky. He goes for top rope back suplex. He used to do that a lot. Bret counters it in midair, lands on top of him, and does get the pinfall.
Yep. 10 minutes and 28 seconds. Great way to start this.
Yeah. This is actually, we'll get to it later, but we'll get to this is actually my second favorite match of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to that once we get there, but there's a semifinal match that I think is actually better than this.
Mm-hmm.
But this could easily, if it wasn't for this, easily could have been match of the night.
Agreed.
Actually, all of Bret's matches tonight are very good.
So yeah, that just shows you how good Bret Hart is.
And because I guess from doing research, and recently I was watching one of the more recent episodes of Wrestling with Regret, and he went over this pay-per-view. And I guess Bret was told not to use the sharpshooter. So every match he's in, you got to see him use a different finish.
Mm-hmm.
Which also showed you how good he was, too.
Right, that he can adapt to the restriction.
Yeah. So we actually get footage from Superstars a few days to a week ago where Mr. Hughes and Harvey Whippleman were beating up The Undertaker and Paul Bearer with Undertaker's urn, and they stole it.
Mm-hmm.
Which takes us into our next opening round match, the Battle of the Misters, Hughes and Perfect. And this doesn't bode well for Mr. Hughes because he's already in the ring. He doesn't get an intro.
Yeah.
But for the first part of the match, Mr. Hughes was the one in control.
Yeah, there was a lot of rope running in that early going.
Yeah. And that oversell, I always liked how Mr. Perfect would oversell just enough. Like when he got his head smashed in the turnbuckle and he did that flip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always glorious.
He oversold perfectly. No pun intended.
Right.
Like the way he could oversell without making it look goofy was an art form.
Right.
So we go back and forth. The match is all right.
Yee.
It's okay.
Just okay though.
It's some people consider it the worst match of the show. Mine is actually the one after this. Like I think to me, Perfect saves this from being the worst match. We do get a picture-in-picture for the first time tonight, though, with Bret Hart about who he wants to face in the next round because the winner of this match will face Bret Hart. He says it doesn't matter who he wants. It doesn't matter who he gets, but he'd rather have Mr. Perfect.
Right.
So, but yeah, Mr. Hughes is controlled for a good chunk of this match. Perfect does make a comeback, but he gets hit with the Undertaker's urn for the DQ.
Yeah, that was 6 minutes and 3 seconds. I don't like that this ended with a disqualification.
No, I get why at the same time, but it just even if it ended up with a disqualification, even if it did, this match was not good.
No, definitely not.
These guys did not gel well together.
Yeah.
Mean Gene is backstage with our challenger for the world title tonight, Yokozuna, with his manager, Mr. Fuji, talking about the title match with Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
The American hero Hogan is going down. Death to Hulkamania. Fuji's also talking about that, Yokozuna was gypped out of the title match because he had just fought this 20-minute battle with Bret Hart. He wasn't prepared. Hogan cheated, blah, blah, blah. I looked at the time. I was curious.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Fuji said Bret Hart and Yoko had a 20-minute match at WrestleMania, right?
Right.
8 minutes and 55 seconds.
Really? That was all it took?
I don't think any match was 20 minutes at WrestleMania that year.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't even know if any of them, maybe one or two, maybe got to 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was sub 10-minute match. Mr. Fuji saying, "Oh no, it was 20 minutes." Like I don't know if that was just a mistake or him trying to put over Yoko saying, "Oh, he wrestled for so long and blah blah blah." Like,
yeah, I would think he was trying to put Yoko over.
that's what I assumed too, but because Mr. Fuji was very good as a manager.
Right. Yes.
And then, anyways, we get to is actually my least favorite match of the night. It's our next first round match. Bam Bam Bigelow versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan, which, once again, I like both these guys. I'm a big Bam Bam Bigelow fan.
Mm-hmm.
This match did not work.
Yeah. Yeah, they start off just bouncing off each other on the ropes to little effect, and then they just start brawling.
Yeah, which I get that. Like, you're two big brawling dudes. You're gonna run to each other. I don't mind that spot. That's not what bothered me. It just didn't gel.
Right.
Like, you got the two big guys that I'm going to shoulder tackle you and I'm going to absorb it and the back and forth. That's cool. It just shows you how big and powerful the two guys are. That doesn't bother me.
Right.
But I want to bring this up again. We brought this up during the little mini feud he had with Shawn Michaels with Hacksaw. And he did this a couple times. His finisher is a clothesline. He does a 3-point stance, rushes in with a clothesline.
Right.
Why is he using clotheslines like that as a regular move when that's your finisher?
Right. It doesn't make sense that it would be any different just because you do the 3-point stance.
Yeah, which if your finisher's a drop kick, I'm not going to do a different version of a drop kick in the match.
Right.
Because that just makes, in my opinion, like once again, what the fuck do I know about wrestling?
Right.
To me, that makes your finisher look cheaper.
Right, because you're doing a different version of it, but still expecting the same result, expecting similar results.
Yeah, that's like Vader doing a power bomb as his finisher, and then power bombing a guy with a regular normal power bomb.
Right.
In the match, it's like yeah, my finisher's a power bomb, but then during the match, I hit you with the sit out power bomb and you kick out of it.
Right. It makes no sense.
Yeah, or I use it as a transition move, which once again, that's just a point.
Mm-hmm.
But Bigelow ends up knocking him into a bear hug for a very long time.
So yeah, there's a couple of bear hugs.
This is a very I get two big men going at it can be really good. This was not a big one. This is a very slow and plodding match.
Yeah, they're just kind of lumbering around.
Yeah, Duggan did go for his 3-point stance clothesline, but he ran into the turnbuckles, and then Bigelow hit his top rope headbutt for the win.
5 minutes on the nose. I did enjoy this, but I get why you didn't. You made a good case against it.
Yeah, I like this one. I know a lot of people like the Mr. Hughes and Mr. Perfect less. I'm in the camp of the opposite.
Gotcha.
And we get to Terry Taylor and his fancy tux with a Coliseum exclusive interview. Guys, we get the Coliseum exclusive interviews.
Ooh.
which I don't think you're familiar with Coliseum video, sir.
No, I'm not.
For those that don't know, long before WWF had WWF home video and streaming and stuff, the pay-per-views and we had talked about before, their compilation videos
Hmm.
were put out by a company called Coliseum Video.
Okay.
And like, oh, you buy this you buy this, and maybe we'll show you an extra match, or you might get like this, an extra interview you wouldn't have gotten on the pay-per-view. Just if that was the turning point for you to buy the King of the Ring '93 was this interview with Terry Taylor and the Faces for our 8-man tag.
Right, right.
But yeah, man, has Daddy Ass gotten? How much better has Daddy Ass gotten on the mic since '93?
Oh yeah, he's gotten much better.
This was just like, gee willikers, Mr. Taylor, I'm just happy as horse manure to be here. That's what it came across like. He's like, gee williker, gosh all heck. And then they basically just name dropped all their finishers and said they were going to win.
Right.
It was all right. Like, I didn't need this Coliseum exclusive. It just didn't work.
Yeah, it was just kind of there.
It was there. So we go to our last opening round match. And your pick to win this is actually in this match.
Yes, we have Lex Luger, my pick, versus Tatanka.
And I like this. Like, to me, it was kind of slow at the first part. Like, the part I did like at first was, here comes Luger, posing. He's got his mirrors. He's got all the fancy stuff. He's posing. And they have his thing where he has his loaded forearm, which we've talked about was his, he had a legitimate motorcycle accident, and he has legitimate plates in his arm.
Right.
But the storyline was, oh, he's using this to knock out his opponents, and he's been doing that since he got into the WWE in January. So the ref is making him wear this forearm like sleeve, like a padding.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't wear this, you're eliminated from the tournament. And he's just like, oh, rawr, mean, rah. So he puts it on, and he's still posing. And out comes Tatanka, doing his whole Tatanka thing. And he's trying to go Luger start wrestling, and Luger's like, no, he attacks Tatanka, throws him over the top rope, and I'm like, oh no. And then the funny part, Tatanka's like, yeah, I ain't up for that shit. So he gets back in and just shoves the mirror on top of Luger.
Yeah, I liked that. That was a funny spot.
It was cool. And I'm like, okay, now we have graps. Yeah, this was all Tatanka, basically working the arm.
Yes.
For a for the majority of the match, he's working the arm.
Yeah.
And I noticed that Bobby had said that, I forgot to mention, JR mentions this throughout the show. First round matches get a 15-minute time limit. The semifinals get 20-minute time limit. And the finals gets an hour-long time limit. And if, you get to the time limit, you're both eliminated.
Right.
So Bobby has a good point. It's like, look, if you have 15 minutes, you want to get an inside cradle, a roll-up, something, you don't want to work on his arm, especially if you don't have a arm submission.
Right.
But Tatanka did this for the majority of the match.
Yeah. He starts getting whooped on when Luger finally starts to rally in the later part.
Yeah, we get the sunset flips. Like, this was basic, but not in a good way. Like, I like Luger. I was a big fan of Tatanka as a kid. This was like, when I say basics and not in a good way, this was basics not in a good way. This was just very by the numbers.
Point by point, right?
It wasn't a bad match. It was just there.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you on that one. It was just there.
Yeah. Speaking of the time limit, what happens at 15 minutes, Bach?
The match ends because nobody got a pin. Time limit draw.
Yeah, so both are eliminated, which means Bam Bam goes straight to the finals.
Yeah, I actually didn't hate this because Tatanka and Luger both had undefeated streaks, so they're still intact.
Yeah, I get that, but it was just, and I get that's probably why they did the double count out or the time limit draw. But everything up to that, like the last few minutes where they're just trying everything they can, awesome. This just didn't this was just there. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was just there.
It took too long to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, by the time they got to the good stuff, the match was basically already over. So, we get a little backstage segment with the I would say other, but we only get one semifinal match between Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, who do have experience together wrestling. If you guys want to read, they talk about it here during the promo, throughout this thing. SummerSlam 91 This is where Brett won his first Intercontinental title by beating Mr. Perfect in Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing match.
Oh.
You actually get a match. This is where Bret Hart is actually laying on the ground, like they're both on the ground, and Bret Hart locks in the sharpshooter while they're both horizontal, is actually able to get up and turn it around.
Oh, wow. That sounds really impressive.
Like, the match is amazing. It was a very passing of the torch type thing because Perfect has kind of stopped his own thing because he was trying to recover from injuries. This was kind of Bret's, entry into singles competition. Amazing match.
Gotcha.
They do mention this throughout the promo about, I've beaten you before one-on-one. And then Bret's music starts playing while they're in the little interview area. So Bret goes out there. And straight up, this is my favorite match of the night. Like, not even a question.
I agree. It was a good match. I don't think it was my favorite, though.
Okay. I'm sure we'll get to yours, once we get there.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see why Bret and Perfect are some of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, this was a very even match. Fast and furious. Counters into counters into counters. It was very good.
Yeah, and you want to talk about subtle storytelling. Remember how Razor was working on Bret's fingers?
Right, he's got some of them taped up now.
Storytelling, consistency.
Yes.
And Perfect does exploit this throughout the match. Like, there's times where he's doing a little bit of joint manipulation, working on those fingies.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, this is just... I can't do justice everything that happens in this match.
Yeah, I did also note Perfect has really good ups on his dropkick.
Oh, he was called Mr. Perfect for a reason. He was very, very good.
Right.
This was actually, by about 45 seconds or so, this was actually the longest match of the night. Between this and the main event was the longest match of the night.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you everything in this match.
Mm-hmm.
And we get towards the end of it, there's points where Hart was working on Perfect Leg at a figure four, was actually able to put in the sharpshooter, but Perfect was working on, all the fingers, all that hand damage once again.
Right, he can't keep his grip because of that.
So, and then Perfect actually went to go do the Perfect Plex, and Hart reversed it, both got thrown out. Perfect goes in for a small package, but Hart reverses it for the win, and he's going to the finals to fight Bamster.
Yep, 19 minutes on the nose, and this was absolutely good stuff.
So good. Once again, my match of the night, and I'm sure we'll get to yours here. We only have a few more matches left, so hopefully we'll get to yours soon.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go from that match to a match that was... Ladies and gentlemen, the WWF title match. Hulk Hogan is defending this title against Yokozuna with the ring surrounded by Japanese photographers, which I am sure will not play into the finish at all.
I believe every word you say.
Thank you. Yeah, this match was not good.
Yeah.
This was a lot of rest holds.
Yeah. I note the commentary's talking about can Hogan get Yoko up and slam him? That hasn't been given away like Davey Boy Smith and Vader before Slamboree, so there is a little mystery there.
Well, because up until this point, Yoko has not been, he's been knocked down, but he has yet to be picked up off his feet and slammed.
Right.
We've seen him knocked down onto the ground before. Very rarely, but we've seen it. But no one has picked him up of their own accord.
Right.
So this is interesting play. That's a good point. They wouldn't have given it away either because Hogan only had one appearance on Raw.
Right.
So, but yeah, this was boring. Okay, it did pick up a little bit when Hulk Hogan started hulking up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's always going to get the crowd excited.
Yeah.
And it took 3 big boots before he hit the leg drop, and Yoko surprisingly kicked out of the leg drop.
Yeah, I thought it was over at that point.
Yeah, because nobody kicks. Very rarely does Hogan's leg drop ever get kicked out of. So he goes to do it again, and one of the photographers jumps on the ring, which is totally not Harvey Wippleman in disguise.
Oh.
Spoiler alert, it was Harvey Wippleman in disguise.
Okay.
Goes to take a picture with his camera and shoots a fireball in Hogan's face.
So yeah, that was not, you were right, it came into play. Oh my gosh.
I know, who knew? Who knew that the only match that had the photographers surround the ring, the photographers would play into the finish?
Right.
Yeah, leg drop from Yoko. Yoko wins.
Yeah, that match took 13 minutes and 11 seconds. I did not expect that to happen. That blew my mind.
Yeah, and it felt longer than 13 minutes too. This was not good.
Yeah. I don't think it was bad, but again, for me, it was again just kind of there.
You know, the Tatanka match was better.
Yeah.
This is the bottom half of the matches for me. They perform a bonsai drop on Hogan, and we don't see Hogan on WWF TV for another 9 years.
So 2002.
2002. Like he did do some stuff like European tours with Yoko, but he just basically sat out his contract. Did some acting, did Thunder of Paradise, and then we wouldn't see him on wrestling TV again until he signs with WCW next year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we wouldn't see Hogan again until the NWO come into the WWF in 2002.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the first part of Hogan. We're not going to see him on TV here in almost 10 years. And I'm not going to, I'm okay.
Yeah, just not going to miss him, you were going to say?
Yeah, like, because what did we get for Hogan's first run on Monday Night Raw?
Nothing. He didn't do anything.
One appearance, 3 promos, like scripted promos, what, like 3?
Something like that.
One not very good match at WrestleMania, and one not very good match at King of the Ring. And there was no, like, nothing with him as champion. Did you even remember that he was champion during this time?
If we weren't doing this consistently, I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, like, people talk about, like, Brock Lesnar when he was doing his run as the quote-unquote part-time champion.
Right.
Much better. Like, he was wrestling regularly. He had, whether he had, it was him or Paul Heyman talking about him, you knew he was around. You knew he could have hopped in at any single time. You knew he was always around the corner.
Right.
This Hogan was not even a part-time champion. He was supposed to be there. Like, nothing. You got nothing.
No, yeah.
This was not a good run.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because Hogan is talented.
Yeah, like, honestly, if you watch some of his Japanese stuff, like, and I get a lot of it, like, American style, they just want the flashy stuff or the same things. Hogan can go, like, watch some of his stuff from, like, early New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing press slams and enzugiris and drop kicks and...
Gotcha.
No, it was just, you never saw any of it because it was just, oh, come in, beat up Hogan, he hawks up, big boot, leg drop, win.
Yeah.
That was basically the formula for every one of his matches.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm not trying to, talk shit about the guy because he is a Hall of Famer for a reason.
Right.
But it's just this run did not work. Nothing happened.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. Didn't even try.
I don't say he didn't try, but it was just like, I don't think, he didn't have any incentive to, I don't think.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And there was also rumors that he was going to win the title at WrestleMania just to drop it to Bret at SummerSlam. And the rumor is, because I've read Bret Hart's autobiography many times, the rumor was that Hogan said that he didn't think Bret was credible enough to take the title from him. But Hogan said that Vince is the one that, put the kibosh on that.
Right.
We also know that Hogan has also been known to exaggerate on stories or maybe not tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody really knows what happened back there.
Right.
So we now have Yokozuna as WWF champion again.
All right. I'm looking forward to where it goes with that.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Trust me, it's going to go somewhere very cool.
Okay.
And then our next match, we get our 8-man tag. We get the Steiners and the Smoking Guns, Daddy Ass and Bart Gunn against Money Inc. and the Head Shrinkers. Yeah, this wasn't bad.
Absolutely not.
I will admit, though, that I did like the regular tag match on Raw better.
I'm not sure I did. They were both good to me.
They were both good, but I think this one had too much going on all at once because you wanted everybody to get their stuff in, and I don't think there was enough story going. You know what I'm saying? Enough story to work around it.
It was overcomplicated.
I think so. But it wasn't a bad match.
No, definitely not.
It just everybody was trying to get their stuff in, and you only had a finite amount of time.
Yeah. So eventually we get some double hot tags to Ted and Billy, and Billy's going hard. It's good.
Oh yeah, like I like Billy as the hot tag guy. He was just going like once again, he had some hops back then.
Oh yeah.
But Ted was actually able to lock in the $1 Million Dream on Billy, and he released him maybe a little too early, thinking he had won.
Mm-hmm.
But Billy rolled him up for a small package to win.
Yeah. 7 minutes and 4 seconds on that. What we got was okay, but I expected way more.
Well, like I said, we only got 7 minutes. You only had 7 minutes for 8 men to do their stuff.
Right.
Not a lot. We did get a little battle after the match. All the teams continued to fight, but the good guys cleared the ring and stood tall at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So send everybody home happy. The good guys won.
Yeah.
We got a pre-match promo with Shawn Michaels and his insurance policy, who we finally get the name of.
And this is Diesel.
Diesel. Shawn Michaels and Diesel. The future Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
Basically talking about how Yoko just made a Jurassic burger out of Hogan. Hogan's out of here. Time for Hogan to go.
Mm-hmm.
Reminiscent of 2005. We'll get there. But yeah, Shawn's got the title. He's going to win. And he goes up against Kona Crush. Good old Crush.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right at the start, Shawn gets demolished by a shoulder tackle. That was a really nasty spot.
Crush was just as agile as he was strong. He's busting out drop kicks, but yet he's also doing press slams.
So, yeah, he does the thing. He military presses Shawn and reps him. That's always impressive.
Oh, yeah, I've always liked that spot whenever somebody can do that, because that's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's always usually well over 200 pounds over your head. You're just like, yep, doing reps.
Yeah, I can't imagine how hard that has to be.
Oh, I'm sure it's not easy. But yeah, Shawn does finally get into control for a little bit. He's working on the head a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Knock his equilibrium off. But no matter what he can do, he can't pin Crush, who actually straight up throws him out of the ring.
Yeah, he gets hung up on the ropes there and bounces out to the floor. That looked painful.
Yeah. And the part that I don't like is they're still doing this thing that makes Crush look stupid, where the doinks come out, the two doinks come out, and he gets all, what? Confused and distracted every single time. This did not work when he had that match with Lex Luger on Raw, which was a good match up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
Which cost him that match because they lost by countout.
Right.
And it cost him here.
Yep. Gets a super kick to the back of the head while he's distracted, and Shawn pins him in 11 minutes and 14 seconds.
It wasn't a bad match.
No, it was great until the ending again.
Yeah, once again, it's that Crush thing where it's like, where are they going to this? We've had the match. We had that match at WrestleMania with the two doinks. And now it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. It just keeps getting distraction. We don't know where this is going. We don't know if it's going anywhere.
Right.
And it just didn't, either shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get somewhere with that. Finally.
Yeah, I really hope so. I want to get that over with.
Yeah. And then we come to the final match of the night, and I would have probably safe to assume this is your favorite match.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Fair. This was a good match. We got the finals of the first pay-per-view, King of the Ring, Bret Hart versus Bam Bam. Once again, two more guys I'm huge fans of, so on paper, I'm going to like this. And you know what? That paper was right.
Yeah. Starts out as a slugfest, and that's always nice.
Yeah, and I like how they're still... The whole storyline is Bret's had very long matches.
Yes, so he's tired.
He's not 100%. He's tired. He's injured. And they use this. They actually, once again, storytelling, they keep going with this.
Right.
Bigelow was working on Hart's back the whole time because we once again, he's basically going into this for those that play SmackDown versus Raw or like any of the 2K games. He's going in the orange.
Gotcha.
He's very orange right now. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, his damage meter is up.
His damage meter's in the orange right now.
Okay.
Because you had that match with Razor. You had that badass match with Perfect. Now you're going up against Bam Bam, who's one of the better big men out there.
Oh, yeah.
He's orange. I would say Bam Bam. I don't even think Bam Bam's yellow yet.
So yeah, Bam Bam is more or less fresh because he got the semifinal bye since Tatanka and Luger drew.
Yeah. Brett does fight back. He's not just getting squashed, because there was one point where Bigelow locked in a bear hug, but he was able to push Bigelow into the steel, like the guardrails.
Yeah.
Like, Brett's fighting. He's scrappy. He's fighting. He's going to do everything he can. He's doing the best he can to fight Bigelow.
Oh yeah.
Surprising finish. Luna comes out. You know, his main squeeze, Luna Vachon, heads out, hits Brett with a chair, and then Brett gets rolled in, and Bigelow hits the head, but Bigelow's king of the ring, y'all.
Yep. In 9 minutes and 25 seconds.
Which, to be fair, I get that. Like you know, it's a great, like, Brett put up a hell of a fight. You know, like, he went through hell and high water. He looked strong in this, though.
Absolutely.
Wait, hold on. I'm getting word, Big Buck.
What's up?
Yeah, match isn't over.
What?
Yeah, Earl Hebner came down the ring because Joey Morella had gotten squashed. There was a ref bump. Joey Morella was the referee. He got squashed, you know, ref bump. And Earl Hebner came out and said, no, that's not what happened. Bigelow cheated to win. The match needs to continue.
So yeah, I didn't care for that because this is the whole, it's Pandora's box. If you can do this once, why not do it every time someone cheats?
True, but like it didn't bother me because this was the only time it happened.
Okay.
To me, it didn't bother me because it didn't happen.
Yeah, they didn't go back to this spot again.
No, this is the only time this spot happened the whole night.
Gotcha.
Brett actually dove outside and landed with a, you know, he did a tope dive, landed on top of Brett, or Brett landed on top of Bigelow. He did try to go to the sharpshooter, but once again, his hand, it's the little things.
Right. The hand damage, he can't keep his grip.
His arms are in red right now, dark red.
Right.
But Bigelow, you know, Brett's in the corner right there. Bigelow charges him. Brett ducks, get on his shoulders, victory roll for the actual 1, 2, 3.
Yep, and the actual match time is 20 minutes, 20 seconds. I loved this match.
So good. Like,
Yeah.
This just shows you not only how good Brett was because he had 3 different wrestlers and 3 different styles. This just shows you how good Bam Bam is. Everybody sleeps on Bam Bam.
The podcast is my first exposure to Bigelow, and I love it.
I love, look for his early stuff. His ECW stuff after his WWF run is amazing. His Japan stuff, like I said, he was I want to say either All Japan or New Japan. He was tag champs with Vader. Like, his Japan stuff is amazing too. Like, just look up Bigelow in general. Like, he's always been this kind of guy.
Gotcha.
We do get a coronation ceremony. Brett comes out. They've been showing it throughout the show. You know, you get the big old goofy crown, the scepter, the big sparkly, glittery cape, cowl, whatever you want to call it, the cape. And out comes Jerry Lawler, who, once again, Jerry Lawler's been around since late '92. Who's known as Jerry the King Lawler because that was basically, he was known as the King of Wrestling in Memphis. He was the king.
Right.
And he's like, there's only one king of wrestling, and that's me. You're a fake king, this, that, and the other. And he's like, no, I'm not sharing this with you. I'm the king. And then he attacks Bret Hart, and basically, not only does he beat him with the scepter, he should have beat him with the throne.
Yeah, that looked painful.
He picked up the throne and just threw it onto Bret. Bret's in pain. Bret's in the fetal position as the show ends.
So yeah, obviously we're going to do a Lawler and Bret Hart feud, and I'm looking forward to it.
And it's not a short one. That one goes off and on until about 95.
Oh, wow, that long.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and I agree with a lot of critics on this. Overall, this show wasn't bad. However, and I agree with a lot of the other people who've talked about the show since it came out, the critics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bret Hart was the MVP of the show, because if it wasn't for Bret Hart, this show would not have been that good.
Agreed. Bret Hart made this event.
Bret Hart wrestled damn near an hour of this whole show.
Yeah.
And if you took away all the Bret Hart matches, none of the other ones are good.
Yeah, there's nothing left.
Bret Hart 100% the MVP. And I would give this show a C+.
I would go a little higher, B-.
Only because, you know, once again, you take out Bret Hart out of the equation, the show is not that good.
Right.
Name me one, not saying you have to be on Bret Hart's level or you have to have a 4 and 5 star match. Name me one decent match out of everything that didn't involve Bret Hart.
8-man tag.
I disagree with you on that one. That was a little way too much for a little time.
Yeah, it was overstuffed, but I think it worked for what it was.
You know what? We'll agree to disagree. Everybody has their opinions. It was all right, but all right. If you have a bunch of shows where all right is the best,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
like if the best you can say about a show after you take a person out is meh, meh, it's not good.
Right, right,
And once again, you can find this. You can find this on Peacock. Obviously, that's where we watched it.
right.
Once again, there is no top 5 movies or TVs because we don't do that on pay-per-views because we're still in the same week. However, we have another big episode next week because not only do we have the fallout from King of the Ring and are slowly building our road to SummerSlam with Monday Night Raw, we have Clash of the Champions 23, and the fallout from that, we have WCW Saturday Night, who's not only dealing with fallout with Clash of the Champions, we're on the road to Beach Blast, y'all.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a big episode next week.
Yep. You can find us on Twitter at capital D and capital A Podcast One. We're on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Stitcher. Stitcher's only on around till August, but as it's still right now, Stitcher, Apple, Amazon, Good Pods, iHeart, basically anywhere you can't get rid of us. Where can we find you, sir?
I am at Big Boct, BIGBOCT on most socials. That includes Discord. I'm most active on Twitter, Twitch, Discord, and Reddit.
All right, and I am Xander Invictus everywhere on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for listening.
Alrighty, this has been Dropkicks and Attractions, and we will see you next mission.